So what do you do when all of your money is going toward your bills? How in the world are you supposed to save anything if you don't have anything left? Hi everybody, my name is Sarah, and I wanted to talk to you today about how in the world you're supposed to save money for an emergency if all of your money is going toward bills. I mean, it's a really difficult thing, right? You've got money coming in, but inflation is crazy. The price of everything is up like 20% across the board, and you just don't know where you're supposed to come up with money to pay the bills, nonetheless actually put it into savings. Here's what you need to do when you have limited funds. The first things that you need to pay for are basically your four walls, right? So you need to pay for your home, whether it's rent or mortgage. You need to, or taxes, because they'll take your home away if you don't pay your taxes. And you need to pay your electric bill because you have to keep the light and the heat on. Also, with that, the same way, if you're using a fuel, oil, or propane to heat your home, you need to make sure that that's taken care of as well. You need to pay for food because we all have to eat, but that's a little bit flexible. We can get into that in a little bit. And you need to pay for transportation. So you need to get back and forth to work. You need to pay a car payment. You need to pay gas. You need to pay registrations. All of those things, car insurance, big deal in New York State. They will tow your car if you don't have insurance. So that's kind of a big deal. And then you have to pay to get it out of towing, and it's nonsense. So those things are necessary to be the first things that you do when your paycheck comes in. On top of that, you need to pay your debts. So if you've promised your money to somebody else because you've borrowed money, then you need to pay that back. Credit cards, you need to pay that money back. Even if you're doing the minimum payment for now, I mean, it's not forever, hopefully, just for now, you can pay the minimums on those and then essentially set it aside, worry about it another day. If you have other loans, personal loans, we talked about automotive loans, we talked about a mortgage. Many times people have loans from other things. They have motorcycle, camper, sometimes family loans. Really move those family loans up to the tippy top. If you have underneath your four walls, if you have a loan from your gram or your aunt or your parents, it makes for a really awkward Thanksgiving dinner. Owing those people that you love, who love you, money just feels a little uncomfortable. So move those up to the tippy top, pay those off as much as you can, as fast as you can. So anything that you're in debt to needs to be paid after your four walls. Then after that, you need to start worrying about other things. You need to, we can talk about food a little bit. Food is a pretty flexible area. Most people have enough food in their house to feed them for weeks, but they don't have the right food. So you have to get a little imaginative when you're talking about food and cutting back your grocery budget. There are ways to cut that back. Staying out of the grocery stores as much as possible is a great way to cut back on food. That way you don't have to worry about those impulse purchases. Shopping just the flyers, which is something that I'm doing right now. A video on that to come. It's what I call the Linda method because it's the way that my mother has always done her grocery shopping. So she only shops the sales and then fills in the gaps with the little things that she might still need. Once a month grocery shopping is a great way to keep you out of the grocery stores. Using digital coupons, using apps like Ibotta and Fetch, all will help you lower your grocery bill. Shopping from your pantry first, planning your meals, planning around what you already have in your home will help with that. Now, once all of your bills, your necessities are paid for, we can now talk about how much money you have left over, if any. If you don't have money left over after all of the necessities are paid for, you might have to find a way to bring more money into your home. That might look like a side hustle. It might look like asking for a raise at work. It might look like overtime. It might look like starting a small business. It might look like walking your neighbor's dog or cleaning the lady down the street's house. There are lots and lots of ways to increase your income, especially now. I mean, I go shopping and I see help wanted signs everywhere. There might be a place for you in a second job if you can swing it. It's hard. I know some people have exhausting jobs. The last thing they want to do when they get home at 4 or 5 o'clock is go to another job because it's that exhausting. Physical labor and mental labor is exhausting. You might be able to find a couple of little things to do on Saturday mornings or your days off, or something you can do and bring the kids to. Dog walking. You can bring your kids dog walking. You can bring your kids, if they're old enough, to the neighbor's house to help you clean. Those are all real possibilities. So having an extra income coming in when your income just isn't quite meeting all of your needs is a great idea. So here are a few things that you can do right now to have more money available to you. Assess your accounts. Assess your spending. Look to see where you're spending money. Could you reduce your entertainment? So even your internet. Sometimes just making a quick phone call to your internet provider can yield in a promotional rate. You can do the same thing with your car insurance constantly, all the time. At least once a year, I know that I do that with my car insurance. Just give them a quick call and say, here's our situation. Here's what's changed in our lives. My husband has retired, so he's not going back and forth to work anymore. He's just using it for errands and such. Can you reduce our rate? They did. They actually reduced our rate because he wasn't driving those 15 miles twice a day back and forth to work. There was no need for that anymore. Can you reduce your internet? There's actually a program that will give you up to $30 off your internet each month. Depending on how much you make. So I will leave a link below on what that is for you. Cut out things that you're not using anymore. I know we talk about this a lot, but you'd be surprised at how many things that you're paying for that you're not using or just don't need. Any kind of membership, a lot of times you forget about them. You forget you even have them. You can just cut those out or find replacements for them. Number 2 is reduce and eliminate expenses. We touched on this a little bit while we were assessing our spending. Gas is crazy, right? We all know gas is crazy. It's coming down, but it's not coming down fast enough. How can you reduce your gas consumption? You can batch your runs. You can work from home. That's possible for some, not for all. You can carpool, especially if you have kids. If you have a neighbor and your kids are both in the same sport, for example, if they're both playing soccer, you can take turns picking them up from practice. That will help save, especially if you're right down the road or close by. Food expenses. Cut down on your food expenses. You can stop eating out. Cut that down from twice a week. Takeouts, pizza. We're big pizza delivery fans here. And a new place just opened in town I'm dying to try, but I have to wait. Not this week, maybe next week. Evaluate where your food is coming from. Make your own staples. I mean, bread is super, super easy to make. And really, it tastes better than anything you can buy from the grocery store. Make more soups. Pasta, super cheap. Find ways to make pasta. You can even go online here on YouTube or any place online and look for copycat recipes. So if you have a favorite Olive Garden fettuccine chicken Alfredo recipe, you can find and make that at home for a fraction of the cost the Olive Garden charges you for. Also, I know that the food pantries in my area and the churches in my town give out food. There's no criteria as far as making money, how much you make, your income for those. You just have to prove residency. So if you live in a town that the food pantry is in, or the county even, you can go there for staples. Sometimes the churches have drive-up food drop-offs. They may have gotten a large quantity of food from a local farmer. Even my library has farm-to-table refrigerator where farmers will drop off their produce so you can grab them from the library. Pick those things up. Many times there's no income criteria for those things, and every little bit helps. As far as entertainment goes, everybody talks about cutting cable, and really that's the new fancy fad, is to cut the cord. We did it years ago. We have some streaming services. We have Philo, which is like 20 bucks a month. Netflix, I'll turn them off and turn them back on. For example, perfect example, Apple TV has Ted Lasso. What a great show. Love that show. I'll only get Apple TV for 1 month after all of the Ted Lasso shows drop, and I'll just binge watch them. And I only have to pay the $5 or $6, whatever it is for Apple, just for that month. But also, my cable company offers a streaming app for like $20 a month. Instead of $120 a month, which is what my mother-in-law pays, you can get a streaming app, especially if you have a smart TV, and cut it down to like $20 a month. You can get rid of all of those apps. Make sure that you are really actually using the apps that you're paying for. Borrow movies. You can now borrow movies from libraries right online. So you don't have to physically go and pick up a DVD and put it in your DVD player like you used to, or even worse, I'm dating myself, VCR. You can just stream them online now. It just makes for a cheaper alternative to entertainment. So those ideas are some ideas that you can use to cut your expenses. You can save that money. The holidays are coming. You can save that money for the holidays, or you can just sock it into the savings account to build up an emergency fund. We went through some crazy times these last few years, and a lot of people really suffered the consequences of the pandemic. They lost their jobs. They ran out of money. They couldn't find things. They were paying astronomical prices for silly things like toilet paper. We went through that. We saw the ramifications of an emergency. Right now, we're watching hurricane season down in the southern states. We're seeing that happen for other people, true emergencies. So having an emergency fund is essential for getting ahead of the game. So those are my tips on how to save money when all your money is going to bills. If you like this video, I'm going to leave a link to another video that I really think that you're going to like right below this. If you have any other questions, comment your questions in the comments and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Have a great day.